Whether it's cars, comics, video games, or violins, there's a little geek in all of us. It's time to give your geek a voice. It's time for Geek Therapy. Here's your host, Johnny Hamburger.
Don't you love my intro music? It's so Stranger Thingsy. That's an awesome show. And I need to point out, because I haven't done so yet, all the music you hear in my show, especially that intro, was custom made for me by one of my best friends. His name is Andrew. I won't give his last name, but his stage name is DJ Bird Peterson. And he's not just a wannabe DJ, a wannabe producer. He's actually done very well in the industry. Contracts with Sony. He's done music for HBO. He did a song for the show Entourage. But he's done a lot of things. That's just a couple of things he's done. He's made a nice life for himself doing music. It's funny that, everyone hears, oh, play my mixtape. Here's my mixtape. I'm a producer. Are you? I don't think you know the meaning of the word producer. Anybody can be a producer if you just say, I'm a producer. Well, you're producing garbage, sad to say. Like, keep working at it. Like, I understand you have to carry yourself with some swagger and throw your weight around, fake it till you make it. But 99.999% of anybody saying, yeah, I'm a producer. Here's my mixtape. It's fire. No, it's not. I've listened to so many fire mixtapes that I've bought out of the back of somebody's Impala at Walmart, and it's terrible. The vast majority of it is terrible. Some of it's good. Man, some of it, once in a while, you get a unicorn, and some of that, you take a chance on someone's mixtape, and it's like eyebrow raising. Wow, you really got something here, man. You really got it. But by and large, people who say that producers aren't producers, Bird Peterson, Andrew, is a producer. And all the music you hear on my show, unless I otherwise designate, that's not the right word. Unless I otherwise say so, all the music you hear on my show is from Bird Peterson. My buddy, it's my buddy's remixes and whatnot. It's all his music, unless I say otherwise. And it's funny, growing up, I've known him for 20 years or so. Met him in 9th grade, I guess. I can go off on so many rabbit trail stories, but I won't, because some of those rabbit trails might, I'll just leave it there. It won't be good. They won't be good rabbit trails. Anyways, growing up, geeking out. We both geeked out about our things, and we both geeked out about music. So starting out, seeing him and hearing his early stuff and watching him work, we both used this program called Acid Music 1.0. It was like one of the first audio programs for the masses that was loop-based, that came with all these samples on the CD, and you could just basically make these loops and make a song within minutes. It was a very magical time in the era of music, because now anybody with a computer could make music right out of the box, and that's what we did. So watching him go from those early recordings, those early songs with Acid 1.0 to where he's at now is crazy. And it's also crazy that he is one of my best friends, and we have been joined at the butt for 20 years. For 20 years, and he has become prolific in music, travels the world doing this. And I have done whatever I've been able to do in radio. In fact, he and I together started this side project together. It was just a joke, and I'm not going to give away many details about our little fake radio show we did, but we had this fake radio show that we started doing fairly annually back in 2003. And we've done several of these things, and we would get our friends in on it, and it was basically just all of us sitting around with microphones, hitting record and making this fake show and trying to get each other to laugh. I'll just say try to get each other to laugh, because what we were really doing was, well, I digress. But it's funny. I had this idea, let's make this fake radio show. And here I am on the radio all these years later. I don't know how that happened. I do and I don't. But it's the thing that I was geeking out about the most. And now I actually do have a microphone and an actual station that has given me an hour. So this is where it starts. That's to say it starts. It started in 2003 and it's 2017 now. But this is like the beginning of it being legit, of all those fake shows we used to make just for our own friends, just to make each other laugh, fake radio shows, to now a real radio show. That journey, that geek journey, for not just for me, but like I said, for my friend in music. I remember back in high school, Andrew had this really crappy car. It was a Hyundai something. And it was, I say crappy, but now I think back on it so fondly, because my car in high school, I had a 1994 Volkswagen Passat, which was trash. And I put vinyl racing stripes on it. And I had SpongeBob SquarePants floor mats. And I put like neon all over I went through that phase. I went through that phase of putting just trash AutoZone crap all over the car. Unironically, well, maybe a little bit ironically, but anyways, we'd sit in his car, and he went through this phase of listening to drum and bass and Radiohead, and anytime it would be me and Andrew and our buddy Brad, I would sit in the back seat, and they would put on Radiohead every day, and I would sit in the back seat just daydreaming about a big drill going into my head. It's like, somebody please put me out of my misery. Why do we have to listen to Radiohead again? But it's exactly what I did in my car with Edwin freaking McCain. Like, I listen to my own, it's not crappy music, because Radiohead's not crappy. I don't think Edwin McCain's crappy, but, we listen to these artists ad nauseum, and that can drive anybody crazy. So yeah, Andrew geeked out about music and went through these different phases of musical genres, and he's landed on his own. And he's just as good as anybody else. To throw out a name in EDM, I guess, that's familiar to most people, Skrillex. Andrew's worked on projects with Skrillex. Andrew's worked on projects with many of the top names in that genre of music, just in any genre. Andrew's worked with Sony. Andrew's done all sorts of stuff. Like you said, he's established himself in the music industry, which is awesome. And I'm starting to establish myself in radio, at least to start. I don't want to only be in radio, but blah blah blah. He did his thing, got successful at it. I'm doing my thing, and hopefully will continue to be successful at it, make a much more of a success out of it. But how can two friends be so close and actually do the things that they've set out to do? Because we've had lots of friends, and it's not just me and him have lots of friends. Anybody listening has these friends in high school. I'm going to be this when I grow up. I'm going to do this when I grow up. Here's what I really want to do. How many people actually get to do that? Especially among the more fanciful ideas, like being in the media or music. I'll use music as a perfect example. We have these friends, and all of us do, that were in high school even just amazing musicians. How many of them actually make it? Almost nobody. So to know somebody who actually, makes a success out of it is amazing. And I'll say this as a musician myself. If you make $1 off of your music, off of being a musician, you have hit the lottery, because most musicians don't make a penny ever. So if you go to a gig and you make $100, you are so far ahead of 99% of other people trying to do what you're doing. That's just the truth. Even if it's just a little money, the fact that you made a little money by playing a guitar or whatever is a miracle. And you are so far beyond anybody else trying to do what you do. So I just wanted to get that out there. I just wanted to give you a background of where my music in my show is coming from. It's all Bird Peterson. It's all DJ Bird Peterson, my friend Andrew. So unless I specify otherwise, all the music you'll ever hear on the show is going to be from him. I make my own music. It's not EDM or anything like that, but maybe I'll have it on the show once in a while. I don't want to use this format as a springboard for my music. I just want my music to be my music, make my friends happy, make me happy, and I'm perfectly content in that endeavor. A lot of people said I should go on The Voice. I should go try out for American Idol. No, I don't want to do it that way. You know, I don't. If I was ever to be successful in music, I don't want to win it as a prize. I would like to do it myself, the same way I got into radio. I would like to do it I'm going to say this because it's past the watershed. I want to do it my damn self. Me, not winning a contest. I want to just work and be told no 1,000 times before I get told yes. That's how I want to achieve the things I achieve in life. It's just more gratifying that way. So if I went on a singing show and won a contest for singing, I just don't want to do it that way. God bless the people who do it that way. It's amazing. If you do it that way, that's awesome. And you're happy with that, Godspeed, more power to you. That's just not how I don't want my life to be just winning a contest ever with anything. I want to be able to put my stamp on it. Boom, I worked hard for that. I put blood, sweat, and tears into that. I earned that. So even if I don't earn it, even if I don't get it, I feel fulfilled that I tried. We have to try. Oh, I got a little therapeutic with the last couple minutes of that segment. Anyways, there's more Geek Therapy to come. We're going to be talking about gaming, online gaming, from a perspective of being an old 30-year-old grandpa. It'll get interesting. We're going to get into it a little bit in the show. It's going to be fun. So stick around. Stay right here. More Geek Therapy to come. I'm Johnny Hamburger. We'll be right back. Please, it's 3 or 4 minutes of commercials. Coming right back. Stay here. Welcome back to Geek Therapy. I am your mental curator for the evening, Johnny Hamburger. Let me spit out my contact information before I forget again, like I did in the first segment. Please email me geektherapy@iheartmedia.com. That's geektherapy@iheartmedia.com. Tell me what you're into, and I will do a show or a segment about it. What is your geek thing? RC helicopters? I've mentioned it before. Collecting bugs? Collecting leaves? Maybe you like to build robots? That would be neat. Maybe you're super into muscle cars? Tell me about that. Let's get into it. But yeah, geektherapy@iheartmedia.com. And what's really neat, also my Instagram, Geek Therapy Radio on Instagram, Geek Therapy Radio on Instagram. It's all one word. Let me try to spell it out in my brain. GeekTherapyRadio. Geek Therapy Radio on Instagram, and geektherapy@iheartmedia.com. That's the email. I need to take a little sipple here of my coffee, which I'm a geek. What noise was that? I am unabashed and unashamed in my dorkitude. I'm a little bit of a geek about coffee. I'm not a barista or anything, but I grind my own beans. I've got a French press that I French kiss because I love it so much. I don't actually do that because my French press is it's kind of broken. Some of the glass is broken, and every once in a while a shard will fall off, and I have to be very careful about being aware of when glass falls off of it so I don't drink it. I don't think glass is good for... Doesn't give you superpowers, that's for sure. So, I love coffee, but I only drink a cup a day. And here's an interesting geek tidbit for you. A coffee mug, the average coffee mug, that's not 1 cup of coffee. So when you say, oh, I have 2 mugs a day, I only have 2 cups of coffee a day. No. The average American coffee mug is 2 cups worth. Like 2 measurable liquid cups of fluid. So if you have 1 mug of coffee and you're thinking you're only having 1 cup a day, no, you're having 2 cups. That's 2 cups per mug. So if you're rocking 3 or 4 mugs a day, that's not just 3 or 4 cups. That's, you're getting 8 cups, really. And that's important to know because I think that can alleviate a lot of medical conditions, anxiety and whatnot, because you should know how much caffeine you're intaking. It's not just 1 cup worth of caffeine. You need to double what you previously thought you were taking. And maybe that's why you have anxiety, and maybe that's why you have all sorts of other health issues. A sucky side effect of caffeine withdrawal, and I know this because I had a friend who has sleep problems, and he used to drink a ton of coffee. And when he started to cut the coffee, because cutting caffeine actually helps you sleep, he was miserable with migraines and headaches. Coming off of caffeine, that's a withdrawal. I won't say just like any drug. It's not like a heroin withdrawal or anything like that, but it's still a withdrawal. If you cut back the caffeine, it hurts. So more power to you if you cut back the caffeine. So I love coffee. So I'll have 1 mug a day. And it's kind of funny. Like, oh, you love coffee. That must mean you drink coffee all the time. No. The reason I love coffee is I use it sparingly. I'm a big fan of doing things sparingly in life, or as others might call it, in moderation. To truly love something is to do it in moderation. I was going to go off on a little tangent about something else, but I won't. Areas where moderation is not so fun or ideal or desired. Anyways, so this segment, I really want to talk about something, not just coffee. A friend sent me an article this week, and she was like, I don't know if you use it on Geek Therapy, you might not want to use it, whatever. Let me tell you something. Sitting in the seat of a radio host, if you send us topics, you're doing our job for us. So thank you. That's why I go off on the whole thing, at the beginning of each segment, talking about my contact information, geektherapy@iheartmedia.com. We want those topics. We want you to send us ideas because it's called show prep. And doing show prep by yourself can suck. It can be kind of like writer's block. There's one thing to get talker's block, doing these segments. If I lose my train of thought, lose that, here, I'm doing it right now. Lose that stream of consciousness. It's not good. We don't like that. So if you send us a topic about, for instance, my friend sending me the topic about artificial intelligence possibly taking over the world, and could I use this on the radio? I don't know if you might want to use this on the radio or not. Of course I'm going to use it. You just gave me a whole segment's worth of material. That's less work that I got to do. So let's geek out about artificial intelligence. Terminator 2, what did they say? When the computers were supposed to take over, when, what's that? Skynet or whatever. I'm not a Terminator 2 nerd, so if I get the term wrong, I'm sorry, but I think it's Skynet. When it comes online, they said it was going to come online, I think August 29th, 1997. That was the prediction in the movie, when the artificial intelligence becomes self-aware and views humanity as an inconvenience in the way. So the AI was just going to start launching a bunch of nuclear missiles. Let's just eradicate humans, and we can just get that burden out of the way, that competition for resources out of the way. But artificial intelligence, and the article was very interesting, and I'm not going to get into the author's specifics. I want to talk about my own ideas about it. But he did mention things like the increase in self-driving cars and the robots at the grocery store, the self-checkout. His main point was artificial intelligence taking our jobs, basically. You know, all the highly skilled, high-paying jobs that can be replaced by a robot. And what does that mean? What does that mean for us? First of all, I know Stephen Hawking warned that, kind of tongue-in-cheek a little bit, that AI is the biggest problem facing humanity, the biggest issue facing humanity over the next decade, which, grain of salt, yes and no, we'll see. We're not quite there yet. I do agree that artificial intelligence and automation of services that's the most important. That's the most poignant part of the future, is the job market in the future. Why would I be a radio host if I can have some machine basically copy my voice, write its own script, and then narrate using my own voice? I won't have to be there, which that's a real thing. That's a real thing now. They're developing. It's kind of like Photoshop, but for human voices. There's a computer program they're working on that basically listens to a bunch of speeches by somebody. Let's use Donald Trump for an example. They can take a bunch of speeches and a bunch of narration from Donald Trump, record it, and then they can take, basically the computer learns that voice, learns the inflection and learns the tone and learns everything about that voice. So what you can do is then go into a program, type out your own speech basically, and then apply Donald Trump's voice to it. And all of a sudden you have this perfect speech by Donald Trump that Donald Trump is unaware of, that he never made, which is such a huge implication for news. We talk about fake news now. We're going to be hearing sound bites that the person never even made. That's just a computer mimicking this person's voice. Those are the real things that we have to worry about as far as AI and computers are concerned. We're still a long way off from organic. It's kind of a difficult concept to explain. Organic artificial intelligence. A computer that, think about Data from Star Trek. We're a long way from that. Once a computer starts feeling emotion, then it could be all over from there. But we're still a long way away from that. I'm not sure we'll ever reach that. The human brain is still just astronomically and even supernaturally and just complex. It's an amazing, amazing device. And we are still a long way from perfectly emulating it. So what we have to worry about now are our jobs becoming automated. That's the real fear of the future, not T-1000 coming after us. That's far-fetched. That's still science fiction. But someone taking our jobs, that's a real thing. And it's not going to be a foreign immigrant taking your job. It's going to be a robot. For instance, fast food workers. You don't need a person to put in an order, and that's what's happening. And you want $15 an hour, McDonald's is going to say, and is saying, bye-bye, we'll let a robot do it. That's real issues we have to worry about in 2017 and for the next decade. That's just my thoughts on it. I may be wrong. Let me know what you think, though. geektherapy@iheartmedia.com. Send me your hate mail. Send me your different ideas. Send me your praise, whatever. What do you think about that? geektherapy@iheartmedia.com. And we'll be right back. Another couple minutes of commercials here. We'll be right back with more Geek Therapy. I'm Johnny Hamburger. Don't go anywhere.
If you really like to rock the funky beats, rock the funky beats. If you really like to rock the funky beats, rock the funky beats. If you really like to rock the funky beats, rock the funky beats.
Welcome back to Geek Therapy. I'm going to try to make this segment just a tad shorter because I'm trying to get my buddy on. He's down in Chile right now doing work because he's a baller like that. But I'm going to try to get him on for the last segment. We're going to talk about gaming and specifically gamers from the point of view of people like our generation in our lower 30s. Which I've been called grandpa online so much, gaming online, because it's just the whole different mentality between generations. There's things that I just don't understand that are shocking to me, that I get salty about, as far as the differences between playing a game online as a 30-year-old and versus people who are in their teens or younger. The amount of N-bombs being dropped, just the whole growing up having played team sports, with actual human beings shoulder to shoulder in a dugout or on the bench with human teammates versus playing games online where people are so connected yet isolated. The psychological depths and ramifications of being so connected yet isolated is breeding this new form of human trolls. And we'll get into that in the next segment. So I'm going to make this segment a little shorter because I don't want to cut my friend off. I don't want to be like, oh, we only got 5 minutes this segment to talk about something so juicy, so spicy, so zesty. So I'm going to try to get my friend Nate on here for the last segment. This segment, I want to talk about aviation a little bit. I myself I'm a little bit of an aviation nerd. I like airplanes. I want to get my pilot's license. That's a dream of mine, to fly around a little airplane in the clouds, and that's such a nice dream. And I have, speaking of games, I don't know if I'd actually qualify it so much as a game though. I have so many thousands of hours in flight simulators. Like even right now, as I'm recording this segment, I have Flight Simulator on in the background. I'm flying from Bush Intercontinental to Chicago O'Hare in a Cessna 182. I've got a tailwind. I use real weather, and I've got a tailwind, so I'm seeing if I can make it in a 182 from Houston to Chicago in a Cessna 182 with a tailwind. And right now, my ground speed is 151 knots, which is 165-ish miles an hour. ETA is 3 hours and 37 minutes, and I've got 75% of my fuel left, so I think I'll do it. But I don't know. That's why I play Flight Simulator. I'm cruising at 12,900 feet. I'm staying 100 feet below the oxygen requirement limit, because above 13,000, I believe in the real world, your plane needs to be equipped with some sort of oxygen delivery system. Don't quote me on that. I don't have my pilot's license yet, but in my little geek travels, my little geek tangents, that's one thing I think I've picked up. I know for sure that over a certain altitude, you need to have a pressurized cockpit and an oxygen delivery system. I know that's for true. And I think it's at 13,000 feet. Anyways, that's why I'm at 12.9 right now. 151 knots ground speed, ETA 3 hours and 30 seconds. So I'm a little bit of a dork like that. All systems are good. I'm looking at my six pack here, not my abs. There's the instrument panel of airplanes. It's called a six pack. You've got your airspeed. You've got your wing level, whatever your altitude, your vertical climb or descent. You've got your compass, and you've got your turn coordinator. Oh, what is what is that one? I blank out on the name of it, but that's the six pack. Everything looks good. So I'm going to get off that little tangent. There's a company that has been raising money, Boom Technology. They've raised so far $41 million towards their goal of bringing back supersonic passenger flight. And it kind of makes me rub my head a little bit and wonder. We used to have that. It was called the Concorde, and it didn't work. It was extremely expensive and very loud and very dirty and very inconvenient. Well, I say inconvenient. Inconvenient because you can only, as of now, supersonic flight is only allowed over the ocean. So again, this company, Boom Technology, trying to get back into supersonic passenger aviation, has the same obstacles to overcome that Concorde could not overcome. So I don't know how they're going to do it. How are they going to make the sonic booms less? If their travel route is going to be the same as Concorde's was, if it's just going to be going from the East Coast to London, basically, that's and charging $5,000 for the privilege. How's that going to work? And I'm not an expert on that. Maybe they can make it work. I think there's other. Obviously, we didn't need it. We didn't need it with Concorde, and Concorde failed. So why are we repeating it? Why are we trying to repeat history again? I hope it works. I hope they really know what they're doing and they can reduce the sonic booms enough to be able to have more routes, make it much more economically viable by offering more services to more customers. So as of right now, their target of being of $5,000 one way, how is that going to be tangible? How is that going to be sustainable? I don't know. So any aviation geeks out there, you should tell me why you think this company, Boom Technology, has a chance to bring back supersonic passenger flight. I don't think they do. I just don't think they do. We're working on other stuff that's more expensive, of course, the Hyperloop. If we were able to put the Hyperloop underneath the Atlantic Ocean and offer supersonic travel, even though it's in a vacuum, so it's not supersonic, you need air to go supersonic, technically. Anyways, there's no air, there's no speed of sound. Done. Anyways, I don't think it's viable, but it tweaked my nerd brain, and it's something that's I'm shaking my head. How's it going to work? Did anybody tell Boom Technology about Concorde? Do they not know? Maybe I'm just stupid. I got to figure that I'm just too stupid to work this out, that they're the geniuses and I'm just some guy on the radio. But I'm really curious. That's what I'm geeking out about. I want to know, how is this going to be viable? You know why? Because I want to ride on a supersonic jet. Not for $10,000 round trip. I just want to ride on a supersonic jet. That would be fun to go from New York to London for lunch. That would be great. $10,000 round trip. That's hyper elite, like business class. You know, you spend $10,000 round trip to go broker a $3 billion deal. That's when 10 grand's a drop in the pan to ink a $3 billion deal. That's the only way that works. But how many $3 billion deals are going to be worked on, have to get worked out day to day? That can't be done in a conference call or with Skype. Supersonic flight has to deal with Skype. You can make a free call face to face. Just all challenges that Boom Technology has to face, and why I'm pulling out the rest of my balding hairs, wondering how this is going to be economically viable. I'm done with this segment. Hopefully you have Nate on the next segment, talk about gamers, and how dumb they are. How dumb we are. So stick around, Geek Therapy, more coming up. A couple minutes here. I'm Johnny Hamburger. Stick around. In a world where the internet, Skype, email, and telephones exist, Why do something for free when you can do it for a massive waste of time, money, and resources? Boom, supersonic aviation. Because what killed Concorde hopefully won't also kill us.
I got you stuck off the realness.
Well, I tried to get my buddy Nate. He gave me a call. He is catastrophically inebriated in a Chilean casino currently, and that's not a sentence I could make up easily. So yeah, that's what he's in no shape to be on the radio. He's safe. He's at the end of his work week. He's coming back home tomorrow. So anyways, yeah, we'll get Nate on later. But I do want to talk about video games a little bit, not in the way you might be thinking, though, because it has been found, a study has found that playing video games shortly after a traumatic experience may reduce the effects of PTSD and kind of jumble the way the mind remembers and ingrains that traumatic experience. Meaning that if you play a game of Tetris, they were specifically mentioning Tetris, which is a game I love, by the way. If you play Tetris within a few hours of a traumatic experience, your brain will not be able to basically ingrain that experience as easily. And it makes sense to me because you're concentrating on Tetris, which is a game that takes a lot of concentration to do well. Even if you're not doing it well, it still takes a lot of concentration. That's good news for me, and maybe that's why I'm always in such a cheery disposition, is I grew up playing a lot. I'm stretching right now. Oh, it's late. I grew up playing Tetris a lot. I still play Tetris a lot. You see, I've noticed that with me and playing video games, I'm not so into the games that take so long to play. Like when a game, like role-playing game or something like that, it takes 1,000 hours to complete. Really? 1,000 hours? You want me to play this game for 1,000 hours? Or whatever the hour limit is. I can't. Maybe my attention just can't hold on that long. I do like Final Fantasy though. That's the only role playing game that I do like. But still, I can't just sit there for hours grinding away at Final Fantasy. That's just me. I only play games in short spurts. Maybe tops, like the longest gaming binges I go on are probably a couple hours, like 2 hours max. I just can't do it for that long. It's the same reason that going to movies bothers me a little bit. I can't sit there. I can't be focused on one thing for that long. That's just me. If you really like Final Fantasy, if you really like role-playing games, and you can go on 12-hour gaming binges, like, great. If you can afford to do that, if that's what you prefer to do on your free time, is play games for just several hours at a time, I'm not to judge. You're paying your bills. You are being a productive member of society. Whatever you do in your free time is not up for anybody to judge. And if they do judge, screw them. They're not you. They're not paying your bills. They have no right to judge how you spend your time. My game right now that I'm playing a lot of, it used to be Street Fighter. I used to play Street Fighter 4 a lot. But again, it's one of those games that you can play for 10 minutes here and there. That's the way the game's set up. The matches are very quick. If you want to play for 5 minutes, you only play for 5 minutes. You get a whole match in there in 5 minutes. That's why I like games like Street Fighter. So my game right now, my game for the past couple years actually, has been Rocket League. Rocket League is a very, very, very popular game. It's basically, I know most of you out there listening know what it is already, but it's basically soccer with cars. You're basically racing, you're on a team, these two teams of 2 to 3 people. That's not true. 1 to 4 players per team. Usually the way I play, it's 2 versus 2 or 3 versus 3. And you're just racing around in this big giant field with this big giant soccer ball and trying to basically get it in the other team's goal. It's always orange team versus blue team. And it's very addictive, and it's very fun, and it's purely physics-based. That's one of my favorite parts about it is the game engine. It uses the Unreal Engine, which is a physics engine that emulates real-world physics. Although I will say that to me, the physics in Rocket League feels a bit moon-ish, a little bit moon gravity-ish. It's not quite that bad, but it gets pretty floaty sometimes, it feels to me. I'm talking about regular standard match play, where you can't alter any settings. It feels a little bit moonish to me. But I love the game because you can play it for 5 minutes here and there. The matches are 5 minutes long. The standard regulation play is 5-minute matches, which with stoppage time and everything usually winds up being probably 7 or 8 minutes total on average. But the point is, I don't have to sit there playing for hours at a time to complete one thing. If I want to play Rocket League for 20 minutes, boom, I can play for 20 minutes. I also carry my Game Boy around with me. I always have a Game Boy in my backpack or in my car, and it's always got Tetris in it. I love Tetris. I'm coming back around to what we started this segment. Tetris it does wonders for your mind. You know, I remember when video games were first getting popular, and for a couple decades afterwards, the major fear was video games were going to rot your brain and create a generation of killers. Well, that's not happened. You know, I'd argue that the worst that's happened is we've created a generation of isolationists. You know, at worst, we have kids are just being isolated in their rooms playing their video games. And is that good or bad? Who knows? I mean, as long as they're not hurting each other, who knows, you know? And they can go to school, and we'll see how it affects them for their adult life. But my generation's done all right. We grew up with video games. We grew up sitting in the living room playing video games for hours on end. And by and large, there's a few exceptions, as with any generation, I think we've done all right. So that's my take on video games. I really wish Nate would have come on the air. I could have had him on here. It would have been irresponsible to have him on here in the state he was in. Again, he's safe, he's fine. But yeah, I wouldn't have been able to get a word in edgewise. It'd be like talking to a drunk. And I don't have the energy for that right now. So we'll get Nate on here next time. Other than that, everybody have a great week. Remember, you are strong. You are capable of more than you realize. I love you all. Please reach out to somebody else in your life and love them. Tell them you appreciate them. Let's spread a little bit of love around here. Why do I have this microphone and access to your ears if I'm not going to be able to send out some positive energy, positive thoughts? So take hold of your life this week. It's in your control. You control your happiness. Go for it. Go get it. You are capable of it. I love you all. My name's Johnny Hemberger. Send me an email, geektherapy@iheartmedia.com. Follow me on Instagram, Geek Therapy Radio on Instagram. I love you. See you next week. Have a good one. Peace out, my geeks.